Go. Set up now. Live. Solid. There we go. All right, go. Nope. That's all good. Flip. What's up, Justin? First one in. I haven't even started TikTok live yet. You are the first one in the stream. Welcome, Justin. I appreciate the support. I'm just gonna take a little bit to love the vids, man. I appreciate that. I was out at my parents' place this weekend, so I didn't have enough chance to post a lot of videos, but I tried to do what I could. But I really appreciate the support. I'm not even gonna go live on TikTok yet. I'm just gonna relish this moment. Let's actually, I'm gonna go live right now. But you are the first one. Let's see. Go live. There we go. You helped center my head in my. I'm new at this. Just started investing this year. Well, I hope that it's helping, and I really do feel like I'm trying to help others eliminate the mistakes I made, because I made so many in the beginning of my investing journey. And being a financial, like, I went to school for finance, and I was an advisor for about 3.5 years, and then combine that with just my own personal investing and doing it myself for the past 8 years now, and reading a lot of books and trial and error and learning strategies. Like, you learn a lot, you get burnt a lot, so I'm hoping that I can help others avoid the mistakes that I went through. What's up, Matt? How are you? Justin over on YouTube was the first one here, so he gets kudos for that. What's up? Oh wait, here. What's up, Abed? Aiden, what's going on? Roro, hey Nick, what's going on? Roro, how are you? Adri, hello, hey, how's it going? How's everyone's weekend going? Evening, what's up, Matt? How are y'all doing this weekend? How was y'all's brackets? Well, for those of you that participate in March Madness, how are the brackets looking? How are the brackets looking? Hope you guys had a great day. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Likewise, I hope you had a great day as well. My bracket is still thriving. I got a little nervous with Iowa State, I'm not going to lie, and I'll tell you why. So they had that injury last game with one of their star players. I got a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. Got a little nervous. The game started, I mean, it was a back and forth game for a while, and then eventually they ran away with it, which is nice. But I got them going pretty. I think I have them in my final. No. I have them in my Elite 8, I think. Nice weather here in Spain. Oh, it's been nice in Georgia this weekend. It was like 83, 84 today. It was so nice. Good to see. I appreciate that, Matt. It's slowly but surely, we're creeping up. I think on YouTube we hit 400 subscribers, so I was very happy about that. So, I want to say thank you all for the support, because I was just hoping to get to 200. Now we're at 400, so it's awesome. And then we have just hit 8,600 on TikTok, so happy about that. It was a good day here too. Nice to hear. Nice. It's finally getting warm now in Georgia, so I'm loving it. I love football, but March Madness is a lot of fun. Yeah, I agree. I'm an Auburn guy, so the SEC for me is just I love football season, but I do really like March Madness. When is the Discord coming out? I was going to get it done this weekend, but I went to my parents' house this weekend and spent some time with them, and then we had the dog and we went out to dinner, so I didn't have my laptop with me, or I would have gotten it done. So I'm going to try to set that up tomorrow, and I'll get the Discord out tomorrow. You're going to be a star. Slowly but surely, just putting myself out there 100%. What do you think VOO is going to look like these next few months? We could take a look at VOO. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I got to get the Discord set up. I was going to do it this weekend, but Summer and I wanted to go down to my parents' place and spend time with them. So I didn't have a chance to set it up this weekend, but I should be able to set that up tomorrow. Now, with that being said, enough March Madness, enough football talk. Let's dive into some charts. So let me flip the screen here in a second. Flip screen. Here we go. Let's dive into some charts. Let's get. We always start the stream with Bitcoin, so I only think it's fair that we start with Bitcoin, And then we shall we could go to VOO next. Are you an XRP holder? I am. Yes, I do. Please keep the fees low. No, I'm gonna have the Discord just be open, open to anyone. They can join. But yes, I'm an XRP holder. I've been holding since 50 cents, I think. I want to say I'm in around 50, like 53 cents in XRP. Do you consider this the possible be like 3? It's really too early to tell. I mean, based on the daily chart, it kind of looks like a 1, maybe a 2 with the start of the 3. It's possible, but if you look on the smaller time frames, I'm just still waiting for price action to come out, because this could just still be the 1, and then we get the pullback 2, and then we get the 3. So I'm just kind of letting price action do its thing. I haven't added to anything yet. I'm still waiting for Bitcoin to crack this low at 60K, and then that 60 to 50K region is kind of where I'll start adding to my positions. I'm looking at some new stuff. BWAV. I've never heard of that one. We can look at that one. What's up, Sparsh? How are you? Yes, we can look at Hood. When is your Lamborghini Urus coming? If Hood hits $300, we're all about... No, VeChain. If VeChain hits the targets that I think it's going to hit, I'll purchase a Lamborghini. Let's see. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. What about HBAR? Yes, I do own HBAR as well. Where do you think XRP is going to go on this leg? 80 cents or 95? We can look at XRP. Yeah, let's start with Bitcoin first. Then we'll go to VOO, and then we'll go to XRP, and then we can kind of start, diving into some other charts. But as far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, it's still early, right? Like, yeah, we're getting this nice drop right now from 75 or 70, 76 to 67. So it does look impulsive on the 4 hour, which is, I don't really go lower than 4. The 4 hour, just because I honestly just don't really feel like going lower than the 4 hour. So if you look at the 4 hour chart right now, I posted that video this morning saying this looks like the 1, 2, the 3, the 4, and then we're kind of in the 5th. So I'm just letting price action come about and really just kind of let it do its thing. I do think if we can see this 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and then this 5, then we'll get some type of ABC pullback, which should, depending on where this 5th ends, do we come down to somewhere? Oh wait, you guys can't see that. Hold on. Let me edit the settings on this. I don't want this to extend. So, do we pull back to somewhere between 70 to 72 or 70 to 73? That looks like almost 73. So, again, the 0.618 to the 0.382 would be my region for a pullback. So wherever this wave 5, do we continue a little bit lower, then have some level of ABC pullback to... And when I say pullback, I don't mean pullback in the sense of because I don't want to confuse y'all. So when I say pullback, I mean a retrace of this move. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then we should have an ABC retrace somewhere between... 70 to 73. We could even retrace up to 74. As long as 76 doesn't get taken out, this would be the wave 1, the 2, and then we'll get a 3 lower. And when we get that, depending on where this 5th ends, and then depending on where the 2 ends, then we'll be able to take out our trend-based fib extension. Say this is the top of wave 5, and then we pull back to, 72. So we pull back to 72. The next target that I am eyeing for this being, you guys already know, the 1.618 is always my target for the wave 3. So we'll have the wave 1, the wave 2, say we pull back to 72, then the wave 3 would target 57 in this hypothetical example. This being the 5, ABC to about 72, and then we get a wave 3 drop to around 58. And then after this, we'll get a wave 4 and then a wave 5. So that's essentially what we're waiting for. It's still too early to tell. Don't really get too anxious about it right now because it's still early. We had this, which from a price action standpoint, this drop right here looked very different than this. It does look like this one has wave movements within inside of it, which is a great sign. So just kind of waiting for this price action to develop. So Bitcoin's kind of just in waiting period. We'll get the 1, the 2, the 3, 4, 5, and then we'll call it a day. And then that'll be the bottom of the 5th. And then for me, what happens next is something like this. I did a video last week on it on Neo. So what essentially I'd be looking for Bitcoin off of these lows is something similar to what Neo had. So we had this, low wave here, and then we had the initial sort of movement off of these lows, and we had the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and then this ABC pullback. That's essentially what we're looking for Bitcoin. So once it hits its bottoming zone, we'll look for something like this. I just want you guys to understand like what I'm waiting for based on the price action I'm seeing and what I'm anticipating to come next to confirm that the bottom's in. So this being, I'm just going to draw this out hypothetical, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and then boom. Okay, now the 5th leg is in. This completes this larger structure of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5. And then what comes next is what we'd ideally want is, a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse off of these lows. That's essentially what I'd be looking for next on Bitcoin specifically, and other altcoins as well. But we want to see this impulse off of the low. It won't happen quick. It won't be like, oh my God, we have a 5-wave impulse in like a week. It's going to take, those are weekly candles on Neo. So it's going to take, maybe a month, 2 months to kind of run through this move up. But you'll see some impulsive, candles where you'll see like a 5% up day, 5% up day the next day, and then we're just rocketing. Then you'll get a 2, and then you get a 3, 4, 5. So that's essentially what we're waiting for next for Bitcoin. But it's still early. We just got to let price action do its thing. All right, let me scroll back up here. Analyze in the Bitcoin chart with technical analysis. Comment your trading strategy. Oh, that's AI summary. I don't know what that is. Yeah, we can do F as well. GRT, Adri's still in corrective phase. We're waiting for impulses off the low. We looked at that last week, and there's really nothing with GRT right now because when you look at the chart, it's literally just, it kind of just is, it looks like this, like it's just straight down. So until we get an impulse off the low for the graph or GRT, it's kind of just in waiting period. Let's see, VOO, I mentioned we were going to do, oh my, what is, this must have been from a previous stream. I don't remember when this was. Okay, so let me clean up this chart. I think this was from a previous stream we looked at VOO, but I just can't remember when we looked at it. But it's similar to my analysis on SPY. It looks kind of exactly the same. So we have this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5. And then for me, I'll show you how I get there. So we have a 5-wave move, right? It's pretty clear on the chart. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What comes next after a 5-wave move is you have an ABC corrective structure down. The targets that I'd be looking at for VOO are really anywhere between 518 to 442. So you'll get some level of A wave, B wave, C wave, something like that. As price action unfolds, it'll become more clear. But somewhere between 518 and 442 would be my next zone that I'd be looking to if you were wanting to add this to your portfolio for the long term. That is the levels that I'd be eyeing up, is waiting for this A wave, B wave, and C wave to unfold. These are monthly candles, guys, so it's going to take some time to get there, right? Like this whole move took to get to the top, basically. So that was, 1,200 days. So it won't happen overnight. It won't be like, oh my God, ABC in 2 weeks. Like it'll take, a significant amount of time to do that. You'll get a wave A down, then you'll get a bounce B, and then you get a, correction C. But somewhere between 518 to 442 is a good level to start, dollar cost averaging in for the long term. And then if we do get a pullback to say the 0.5, the next target on it for me would be, say we get down to the 0.5. The next target that I'd be eyeing would be 1,000. So this being the wave 1, the wave 2 to the 0.5, and then the wave 3 to about 1,000. That would be structurally what I'd be anticipating next for VOO, but we got to let price action do its thing and kind of tell us the story. we're already getting a reaction off of this this level up here. And the reason behind that is wave 5 typically tops at the 1.618, so this level right here. And that's exactly what we're getting from a correction standpoint. We pump to the point 1.618, and then we're getting a drop down. There could still be upside to go on VOO, but it's definitely limited given that we're seeing such a strong reaction here at the 1.618. But the next move should be an ABC downwards towards those levels on VOO specifically. Let's see here. What we got? Oh, wait. Every time I try to scroll, some of the comments like fly by, so give me a second. What if the bottom is already in, then what? I'm assuming, I think that question was on Bitcoin specifically. So essentially what we'd be looking for on Bitcoin, if hypothetically the bottom was in, which for me structurally it doesn't line up that way, just because of what we have on the structure. I know that everyone likes to say bottoms in, but structurally wise, it just doesn't make sense. But what we'd want to see for if the bottom was in, this is the price target we would have to pump to get above, to get this wave count invalidated. So 87,193. If price were to retrace and pump above this level, this entire wave 5 structure would be invalidated. And yes, the bottom could potentially be in. However, with this being a 1, 2, 3 corrective 4, and then we're already getting an impulsive move here, a 5-wave move down, the higher probability is we have one more leg lower. I know everyone, take that with what you will, right? You don't have to follow me, but structurally wise, one more leg down, and then once that happens, then we start the impulses to the upside. Until that structure is complete, we're just in corrective zone. Can you do the 10-year yield and account on Bitcoin since inception? Then we move to the top. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, from Bitcoin, if you look at it on the 3-month, on Bitcoin specifically, let me zoom out here. Just so this is the log chart, guys. It's not the analog chart. This is a log chart, so I can get everything in here. But essentially what we have for Bitcoin is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So we already have a 5-wave move completed. This was the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and then the 5 completed in the 2021-2022 cycle. Then we had a pullback, and then we're starting the next 5-wave move up, which is what we got off of these lows. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up for an initial wave 1. So this being the wave 1, we're in the wave 2, and then the wave 3 is next. My next target for Bitcoin is 200K. Once we make this wave lower, and then we move up to 200K. So that's essentially what's next. Yes, we can do. Oh yeah, XRP was next. What's the lowest Bitcoin will go? So for me on Bitcoin, the next target that I have, it hasn't changed since, I don't know, the beginning of February. Like right back in here, was that February? Yeah, beginning of February, like the first couple days of February. My target for Bitcoin is 60 to 50K. So between the 1 and the 1.618. And we just saw on the SPY chart, where does wave 5 typically go? It goes to the 1.618. So that currently is sitting at 49,600. So between that and 60K is my next zone. Price doesn't necessarily have to go to the 1.618. That's just the likely scenario based on the strategy is the 1.618 is next. But anywhere between 60 to 50K is my zone. And that's when I'll start looking to add some altcoins to my position. And then I'll also, the last time we did this, I saw it hit 50. The last time we did this, I saw it hit 53K. What do you mean? I don't know. What do you mean, Justin? I'm curious when you say last time we did this, I saw it hit 53K. Oh, I think you're meaning this maybe when we were back here or somewhere in here, but 60 to Bitcoin. Yeah. So as this wave 4 has developed, obviously you have to adjust with price action. When I was back here thinking this was the ABC, we would get a pullback up to maybe 73K. That's where you're getting the 50 to 52K. But since price action has been a complex 4, you have to adapt to the price action. But right now it's 60 to 50K is my zone. Raja, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Can you please look at that? Yeah, we can look at that. Polkadot just in corrective phase. There's no impulses. Another influencer says alts will drop 50%. Your thought? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the alt. It depends how big their market cap is. Obviously, certain alts may hold up better than others. But what I was talking about last week when Bitcoin was at 76K before we, were getting this wave down, which I was anticipating. If you get a drop like this on Bitcoin to say 50K, which is where the 1.618 is, that's a 33% drop on Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin moves down 33%, alts should also move down, anywhere from 20 to 50%. Probably 30 to 50% would be the likely range. But if Bitcoin goes down that low, obviously that's a 30% correction. If we go to say 55, 27, if we go to 60, 21. So anywhere between like a 20 to 30% correction is what I was anticipating Bitcoin to have back at the 76K region. I am currently in a Bitcoin short. I entered up here at 76K and I'm riding it down lower. So I am currently in a Bitcoin short, actually an IBIT short rather. I bought some call option, or I bought some put options when we hit 76K and I'm riding that lower. But my next zone is 60 to 50K. It could hit 50K. That's where the 1.618 is. That's the typical target for it. So that's, for me, high confluence. Where we're going next is 50K. And then once we kind of bottom there, then we should see some impulses off the lows. But let's jump over to XRP because I know that will help sort of gauge, the altcoin market as well. So move this out of the way. Move this. Oh, wait, no, I don't need to move that out of the way. So on XRP, for example, the chart is obviously different. Let me get this. Move this out of the way. So on XRP, this is what I have next. So this was the macro wave 2. The macro wave 1 was back here. The macro wave 2 is right here. And then we're in the macro wave 3. We've already had a wave 1 and an ABC for the 2 of the macro wave 3. The next target for me is $6. Then we'll get a 4 and then a 5 to complete this wave 3. But we still have basically 3 more waves to go. We have the 3, 4, and 5 to complete for XRP. Now, if XRP, XRP has held up pretty well in comparison to other altcoins, but if Bitcoin goes down 33% and XRP does, say it goes down 40, say it goes down a little bit more, 41, we'll just say 41. That puts XRP at, is that $82? Is that, wait, let me make sure I'm math. Okay, yeah. So if it goes down 40%, that puts XRP at 82 cents. And that would make sense based on what I was seeing here for XRP. Give me a second. This was my wave 5 target for XRP. So if you look at this, right, from current prices, let me put it over here. From current prices, if XRP went down 40%, that puts it right at the 1.618, which for me, this was the wave 4 and then a wave 5 lower to the 1.618. So that would make sense. Altcoins could correct another 40%. My targets for XRP, for those of you that have been to the stream now for over, a month and a half, my targets on XRP were $1 to 80 cents. I've been talking about that for a while now for a final leg drop. And that makes sense based on Bitcoin correcting 30% and XRP correcting 40%. We could drop even lower. It doesn't necessarily have to stop at the 1.618. It could go down to the 2. And if we go down to the 2, then that's that 50% correction. So it is not off the table. If XRP came down to there, it still structurally wise doesn't invalidate anything, because in order for that to invalidate the structure, this wave 2 would have to retrace lower than this down here, which is at 38 cents. So as long as we stay above 38 cents, the next move is up towards, $6. But I might have to adjust this a little bit based on, where we go. If we go down to 80 cents, the target's $5.60, and we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up like that. So that's kind of what's next for XRP. Other altcoins, I've been talking about it now for about a month, maybe month and a half. I was saying when Bitcoin makes its correction down, altcoins are also going to feel that, because when Bitcoin moves, what do altcoins do, guys? Like, altcoins also move down with Bitcoin. You have nuances to it, but if a 30% correction's on the table for Bitcoin, XRP could drop, 40 to 50, and then that puts it in my range of where I'd look to, potentially add XRP, because that's a 5 to 6x on the table. But I already currently own a shit ton of XRP in like the 50 cent region. So I would just continue with that spot bag just because I bought a lot down here, and I would just wait for the $5. That's a nice 10x opportunity that I'm currently waiting for, so I'm fine with that. No alts are dropping another 50%. I mean, I disagree with that. You know, based on the structure, that's what's next. I mean, you can look at... I'd be curious to look at SUI just to see what SUI looks like, and because SUI's had a big drop. Now for SUI, this is kind of what the chart looks like for SUI. The reason I want to look at it is because I want to see what this would drop to, because this is my starting point of wave 1. Then we have the ABC2, and then the wave 3 is next, up to about $8.70. If SUI was to drop another 40%, if it stays above, it has to stay above this low here. If it retraces lower than that, then it's invalidated. But if SUI drops, 40%, it would still be a valid wave 1, wave 2, because it doesn't retrace lower. But that would just be a huge retrace. So it's going to depend on the altcoins. Some altcoins might drop lower. Other altcoins might hold up better. With SUI, we've already had a big retrace, so this might hold up a little bit better. XRP's been holding up really well, but it just depends on the altcoin. Oh wait, I missed a lot of comments. Give me a second, guys. I gotta scroll back up here. What's up, Christian? How are you? Thank you for the fan club. If Bitcoin is going to 55.50, alts will get destroyed. Wait, then, but yeah, I'm waiting till Bitcoin makes its move. The two altcoins on my radar are EOS. Where's the EOS one that I like? Where's the spot EOS? So EOS is on my radar for when Bitcoin makes its move down. We have a really clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with this ABC corrective structure. My next target on EOS is $2. So this being the wave 1, the wave 2, and the wave 3 targets the 1.618. Somewhere up there, but I'm waiting for Bitcoin to make its move before I add to altcoins. Another one that I'm looking to add on Bitcoin's dip is strategy or MicroStrategy. My next zones for MicroStrategy are between $100 to basically $74. That's my next target for strategy, where I'm looking to add a position there, and then 961 being the next target for strategy. So this one, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to make it. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to make its correction first before I add anything. Once we get to the 60 to 50K region, that's when I'm going to look to deploy capital to MSTR, EOS, VeChain, and potentially Robinhood as well. What's your high guess for XRP? So for me, midterm, it's about $6 for XRP. It could extend, but $6 to $10 seems like a good range. $1 will get a big buying opportunity. Yeah, I do think XRP dips a little bit lower. Excellent technical analysis. I appreciate that. Do you think Polkadot will reclaim $55 during 55? So Polkadot for me is also in correction. If you look at the chart on Polkadot, it basically looks like this. So there's really nothing to go off of from a structure standpoint. We're waiting for an impulse to wave off the lows. Unfortunately for Polkadot, Justin said I've got MSTR. I'm waiting to load up on MSTR, but my zone is 100 to 74 and then 962. So that, if we see, again, wave 5 typically goes to the 1.618. If we get to 74, I'll dollar cost average between 100 and 68. So as price is declining, I'm just going to add. But if we get to 74, that's a 11x on the 12x on the table. So if you put $100 in, you can make $1,000 off that trade. So that's why I like MSTR right now, based on the risk to reward. Solana looks really good too. But when do you think that will happen? Next week, you think? So I don't trade based on time. I trade based on price. I don't know if there's any other strategy out there that picks up time. Time's more hypothetical. For me, I trade based on target. So until it reaches my target, I just wait. And then whenever it hits my target, I buy, and then I hold to the next target. So there's really no... I'll pick up on another one. That's a damn good trade. I'll take that deal, man. I will take that deal. What's that from? Is that A Glorious Bastards? That's a damn good deal. MSTR looks really good. Let's see. Yeah, Hood looks really good too. I like Robinhood right now. What's up, Mike? How are you? Tau looks pretty good too. So you're predicting XRP to drop to 50 cents? No, XRP I have between $1 and 80 cents. That's my next target. Tau looks pretty good too. My next target on Tau is about 1,300. Where do you think Bitcoin will go this week? So I don't trade based on the week. I just trade to my targets. I've been talking about Bitcoin going to 60 to 50K since, I don't know. I was talking about it a real long time ago. Back in, I think the beginning of December, or not beginning of December, beginning of February, I think is what I was saying. 50, like somewhere in this range, like beginning of February. So I've been talking about it for, you know, what, a month and almost a half now. Good brother. I appreciate. I like that. Like, if Iran gets hit tomorrow, do we see a leg down? So that's another thing too. I know a lot of people. I get these comments all the time, and it's not a bad comment, right? Like, I want you to take it like it's a good comment. I appreciate the comment, but when I get these comments, I see it all the time. It's, well, this, you know, this news is going to affect the price. News is just an after effect, in my opinion, because I'll share with you two examples of why, for me, news is just an after effect and technicals always lead. So back in this region, right, in December, back in, what is this? November, December timeframe, that's when I started, that's when I was, you know, saying that Bitcoin was going to go lower. Everyone was saying, no, this is the bottom. We're going to pump up to, you know, 125K or whatever, 126K, the all-time high. Everyone's saying, you're wrong, we're going to pump up. And technically, the technicals was saying, we have this wave 1, 2, we're in the 4, and then we're expecting a wave 5 dump. During this time, I was saying, be prepared for a dump. And then what happened was, you had the Epstein files come out, you had the government shutdown, you had all this stuff come out during this drop. And everyone kept saying to me, they're like, well, the reason price is dumping is because of the news. And I was like, no, the reason price is dumping is because of the technicals. The news is just what people are using to validate basically the drop. And then during this phase now, I was saying this was the 1, the 2, the 3. And then everyone back here was saying bottom is in, you know, yada, yada, yada. And I was saying, no, that's just the wave 3. We're expecting a wave 4 and then a wave 5. And then during this entire choppy movement for the wave 4, I've been saying, this is the wave 4. Everyone's been telling me the bottom. You're wrong. You know, price is going to pump up. You know, what if the bottom's in? You're going to miss it. You know, FOMO, all this stuff. And I was saying, guys, this price action right now is not impulsive. It's very corrective. It's choppy. It's overlapping. It's not what you want to see off of a low. You want to see, you know, an impulsive wave off the low, not this choppy structure. And then during all this time, you know, we kind of, the war narrative and Iran and all this stuff, right? All these geopolitical events are coming out. And now people are saying, well, the reason price is dumping is because of this news. While that can factor in, the technicals were already saying we're going to get a dump lower. Now the news is coming out, and then people are using that to justify this price action down. For me, that's just how I look at it. I look at the technicals, and usually the news follows later. But that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but that's typically what happens, or at least based on my experience, what happens just doing this, you know, every day. So I hope that helps. The bear moon, I don't know what a bear moon is. I don't do like any like any of the moon cycles or anything like that. XRP. What was the next one? Oh, Hood. I gotta show Hood. Sparsh, if you're in here, this one's for you, buddy. So Hood is another one. It's actually almost at my target for Robinhood, but on the monthly time frame, Hood is like the most perfect chart that you can look at from an Elliott Wave standpoint, other than MSTR, and actually SPY is a really clean example too. But you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down, and then you have this ABC. I've been talking about Robinhood bottoming at $63 now for a while because it's the 0.618 extension. But on the daily time frame, you also have this structure on the daily time frame on Robinhood. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm waiting for this 5th leg down. And guess where the 5th leg down is on this? Well, it's at 63K, right? Or $63 right here. So I've been talking about Robinhood to $63 now for a few weeks. Sparsh, you're in here. You've been in the live streams now for a couple weeks. I've been talking about $63 for a bottom for Robinhood for a while now. Then after that, once we get the $63, we'll evaluate what the smaller time frame structure looks like. But Robinhood for me will look like a very attractive buy at $63. And then my next target on Robinhood, once we get the $63, is basically 300. So 299, like 300. Really between 300 and 355, between the 1.618 and 2 is my next target. So we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up somewhere in this range. But risk to reward wise, Robinhood looks really good. I'm here, man. That one's for you because I know you've got a pretty good allocation to Robinhood. So I want to make sure that I'm taking a chance at that. Is there anyone else with the same opinion as you? To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't really go on social media and study other creators in the space. Because for me, they just confuse me, or not confuse me, but I want to have my own opinion. I don't want to have any bias. I don't want to take someone else's, the way that they describe things and then factor it into my analysis, because then I'm having a bias based on what they're saying. So I don't watch anyone else. All my stuff is my own. I don't study anyone else. I don't look at anyone else. I don't follow any other creator. I don't follow any other influencer. I don't follow any other market analyst, nothing. Everything that I do is my own work. And for me, it's nice because I don't have any bias in my work, because if I'm looking at other creators and they're like, oh, well, Bitcoin's going down to 50, I might have a bias in my analysis and see that, oh, wait, I know Bitcoin's going to 50 because X, Y, and Z said so. While there probably is other people that have the same opinion as me, I just don't see it because I don't really follow anyone else. It's a liquidation in all the markets. Bitcoin actually trading well considering. Yeah, I mean, I do think there's more downside. It's only going down because of the war, my guy. See, again, news is after effect. It's not. The technicals have been screaming lower since December. I was talking about Bitcoin to have a 5-wave move down since December, and you can go back and watch the videos because I was talking about it back in December. But all these news is just a narrative that people latch onto. Let's see. 10-year yield. We can look at the 10-year. I don't really chart any of the 10-year, to be honest. What is it? 10-year yield futures? Is that what we're looking at? What's the symbol for it? Is it just 10-year futures? That doesn't look right. It just looks like a straight pump. I don't really know. I don't really chart future, like 10-year, to be honest. I focus more on stocks and crypto, if I'm being honest. Hyperliquid. Yeah, we can look at Hyperliquid. It's nothing fancy, just hoping you could tell me something to look for. But VWAV. Let's see. VWAV. Vision Wave Holdings. Is that it? Vision Wave Holdings on NASDAQ? I'm assuming so. This is a newer token or newer stock, July of 2025. I mean, it had a big rip off of the lows. What is that? From $2 all the way to 14. It's hard to tell because it's so new. Structurally wise, it's kind of from what I'm seeing, this all looks corrective. But this, for me, isn't an impulse wave because we don't have a 5-wave move up on the daily, so I can't consider that an impulse wave. It almost looks like stock was IPO'd, we had a big dip, a big rip up, and then, stock's trying to find its footing. I typically stay away from stocks like this because it's so new, and you don't necessarily know where it's going to go, because you don't really have a lot of structure to go off of. Like when you see this, right, you're like, okay, what do I look at? Maybe this is an A wave, a B wave, a C wave, a D wave, an E wave. It just looks very choppy. Once price action finds its footing and we get like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up with an ABC, that for me is when I'll be able to say, okay, now we have the first wave up with the wave 2. Let's chart out a target for the wave 3. But without that structure developing, it's very hard to tell where this can go. You could go down here and backfill this gap. On this gap right here, you could, continue lower down here. Do I think price does that? Maybe not, but you could backfill this and then start the impulse. You could rip from here. You could chop around in this zone for, an extended period of time. There's really not a lot to go off of. which is hard. So that's why I tend to stay away from newer tokens or newer for tokens for crypto, and then newer stocks, just because you don't necessarily know where they're going to go. Like it's trying to find its place. Yeah. It's kind of trying to find its footing. People are trying to determine, okay, will I pay, set $9 to own this stock? Will I pay $4? It's just market participants trying to figure out where they want to value this thing at. But Coinbase is a good example. So Coinbase has structure to it. But if you would have asked me back then, like back in, it's kind of like Coinbase, for example, right? You see Coinbase, you had the IPO, and then it, went down, right? And then it finally had its impulse off the lows, which is fine too. You can be really patient with stocks. You don't necessarily have to buy right off the rip. So with Coinbase, for example, if you would have asked me back in 2022, where's this thing going to go? From a fundamental standpoint, you would expect upside, but you don't know from an upside standpoint where it's going to go because you don't have structure. Now we do. So we have the 1, the 2, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, extended 3. Then we have this big ABC 4 with a 5, and we're currently in an ABC down. On the smaller time frame, for me, Coinbase does look like it's bottomed. We had a nice impulse off the low for Coinbase, and I'm just waiting for price to kind of pull back before it starts its next leg up. For me, the next target on Coinbase is $800, this being the wave 1 and the wave 2. I'll show you how I got that. So the way that you do it is you take the trend-based fib extension here from the bottom of wave 1 to the top of wave 1, you click, and then you take it to the bottom of wave 2. So 807.75 is my next target on Coinbase. Essentially what you'll have off this low is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to about the 1.618 at $800 is what is next for Coinbase. It's AI for, is that atoms? Planes, boats, drones. Interesting. Sounds like an interesting stock. For me, if I wait for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up, then the ABC, that's when I would look to add. Just curious where you think interest rates are going. I think everyone thinks they're going to come down, but it's looking like they're going up and making a higher high after decades of going low. Yeah, I mean, interest rates are interesting right now. I watched the Fed conference last week, and I know that their projections through 2027, they were talking about obviously lowering them through 2027. When that starts is hard to tell. I do think eventually they'll come down because I do think I don't know how much more independence the Fed is going to have or continue to have, because it seems as though Trump is trying to force the hand of the Fed and kind of follow what he wants to do, right? He's been very vocal about interest rates coming down. With the war, with the rise of oil, that obviously puts pressure on inflation. So the Fed doesn't really have a position to cut rates, at least right now. We'll see over the next year where they come down. Ideally, we'd like them to come down, just because for myself, buying a house, I would love for the interest rates to come down so my payment's a little bit lower. But for a lot of people out there, it just makes for cheap capital, and it allows you to borrow at a cheaper cost. So I do think that they will come down. The question is how much. That is kind of up in the air. It does seem like the new Fed chair is going to be more in line with what Trump wants to do, whereas Powell is kind of standing his ground. Like, he's less likely to do the things that the administration, whether it be, Republican or Democrat, whatever they say, I feel like, at least from a Powell standpoint, he's for the most part stayed independent, and I could be wrong on that. I have no clue. I haven't really followed what the Fed does. I typically just rely on the charts and let them tell the story, but I do think that they will come down, just to the extent of how much, I don't really know. And then they're going to print money. That's what they do every single time, right? They print a shit ton of money. Asset prices go through the roof, but asset prices go through the roof in comparison to US dollar. Like, if you look at Bitcoin, for example, you're looking at it against the dollar, right? Bitcoin USD. Justin said, gotta go, man. Have a good week. Absolutely, Justin. I appreciate it. You were the first one in the stream. Let's get a shout out for Justin. But yeah, if you come back tomorrow, I'll be on here tomorrow. But have a great rest of your night. If you're going to watch the games, enjoy the games. Hopefully your bracket doesn't get busted. But with Bitcoin, for example, the reason it's appreciated so much is it's in comparison to the US dollar, which is just getting debased every single year. I'd be curious if I can look at it on here, if you can do it against gold. with it Bitcoin. Where's the is there a Bitcoin against gold on here? Does anyone know how to do that? I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna look in the chat. Does anyone know how to do Bitcoin against gold? Let me see here. Or it doesn't really matter, but if I figured out how to do it, I'll show you what I mean. Basically, we're appreciating against USD, but if you look at it against gold, the chart looks a little bit different. Solana, yeah, we can do Solana. Can we do Sui? Yeah, we can do Sui and Solana for sure. We were just on Sui. Sui looks pretty good. Like, Sui's a good example of Elliott Wave Theory, which is what I like to find when I'm looking to buy a stock or crypto, is I want to see clear chart structure. If we get a decline on Sui, you know, another 20%, I'll probably look to add, because if we get another 20% decline on Sui, that's to 71 cents. The next target for me is $8.07, which is, you know, a 12x or something. So that's a great risk reward. Against being compared to gold, that would be, I'd be curious to see that. Yeah, what that looks like, because gold is. I did a chart. Well, I'll show you what I mean. I did gold last week, and I posted a video about gold being topped. And I've been talking about gold being topped for weeks now on Bitcoin. Okay, I'm going to do that next. So Matt's been in here, and he can vouch for me. I know everyone else on TikTok can vouch for me as well. We were on stream, Bitcoin X. Okay, thank you all for putting that in there. I'll do that in a second. I just want to show you what that looks like. But I was talking about Bitcoin or gold being topped now for weeks before we obviously saw the big drop we had last week. But I was saying gold's topped, expect a pullback. And then I did a video about it, and then everyone was getting emotional about gold. They're saying it's not going to drop. You know, it continues to go up. It's going to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. It just seemed like there was a lot of emotional responses in the chat because they might have bought the top, and it's declining now, and they're getting fearful. Yes, gold is top. Nick is spot on. I appreciate that, Matt. I mean, we were talking about that for weeks, that gold was topped and to expect a pullback. And then we're getting the pullback, and everyone's getting fearful now because they probably FOMO along the top, and they don't want their position to be underwater. But I digress. You know, retail always buys the tops, and they rarely buy bottoms. But for Sui, my next target, for those of you that had requested Sui, my next target on Sui is $8.70. Based on the structure, it does look like we have, you know, one more dip lower, and then we continue this this uptrend. I think for Sui, for me on Sui, my next target on Sui was, where was it? It was between 78 cents to 60. Between 78 to 60 was my next target, and then $8.70 was next for Sui. Sui looks like a really good risk reward trade too, and it doesn't have to extend to the 1.618. Like, it can extend to the 2, and it also can extend to the 2.618. The wave that is typically the longest is wave 3, this being the wave 1, and then the wave 2, and then the wave 3 is next. The wave 3 typically extends the longest, so between like $8 to $13 would be a good range for Sui. And then Solana, yes, we can go Solana. I don't understand how you define a wave. Is the slight pullback after one and not 1 and 2 not a wave? I think I'm misunderstanding that question, Carl. If you could retype that, that'd be great. I'm happy to answer your question. I just think I'm misunderstanding it. Price will continue to come down as the longs are covering their longs by opening shorts. Yeah, I mean, that's, for me, that's why I've been talking about Bitcoin to 60 to 50K. I was saying last week that this move up is largely driven by longs, and they're probably going to get liquidated when price moves down, and lo and behold, that's what happens. For me, Sol was the next one, right? Yeah, Sol. And then I want to do the Bitcoin gold too. I just want to see what that looks like on the chart. So Solana is a really good one too. Let me move this out of the way. Solana looks like a really good trade. I'm already out of Solana. I bought Solana down here in the wave after the wave 1, and then I sold it at the wave 5. So I bought in around, I think, $15 and then sold at like 240, 250. So we had the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and then we're in this ABC pullback. My short-term target on Solana is between 67 to 50, and then my next target after this bottom is 522 is my next target on Solana. So there's a little bit more downside again, going with my Bitcoin thesis. Bitcoin drops another 20 to 30%. Altcoins will also drop, so that's my next target on Solana. Can you do gold? Yeah, we can do gold. What was that? Oh, Ethereum was after Solana. Let's do Ethereum. And then let's do, I want to do the Bitcoin against gold, just so I can show you what that looks like. And then we can do gold. So Ethereum also, kind of like Bitcoin, has a 5-wave move completed on Ethereum. So we have this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Then we have this big correction down. And then I will show you where I am starting my impulsive wave for Ethereum, and I'll explain why. So all this price action, if you look at it on the weekly, it's all corrective. So you have a 3-wave move down, you have this ABC A wave, this B wave, this ABC C wave, then you have this other 3-wave move, then you have this move, then this move down. For me, the true impulse starts here on Ethereum. So we have this being the wave 1, the wave 2, the wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. If you look at it on the daily time frame, it's a little bit more clear, but we have a 5-wave move up here. And then we have obviously this big corrective 2 down. The next target I have for Ethereum is 7,300. This being the wave 1, the wave 2, and then the wave 3 towards 7,300. Then we'll get a pullback 4 and then a wave 5 to complete a 5-wave move. So I'm already in Ethereum. I dollar cost average heavy during 2022 and 2023, so I'm not really looking to add any more Ethereum to my portfolio. I'm looking to add some other stocks and cryptos. But my next target on Ethereum is basically between 73 to 8,700, this 1.618 to 2 on Ethereum. Let me scroll back up here. Matt said he speaks the truth. I appreciate that, Matt. How low you think gold will go? I'll jump into the gold chart, JT, in a second, because there was some requests for gold. I'll show you my targets for it next, and then I'll just show you structurally what I see on it as well. Hyperliquid, yeah, we can do we'll do Hyperliquid. Yeah, we can do Hyperliquid. How do you draw your numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the chart? Please share your knowledge. It's hard, but also not easy. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like until you do it enough and have enough repetition, it's hard. But then once you do it over and over again, it becomes like second nature. But you can see on like Ethereum chart, right? We have this is monthly candles. You have this initial up wave, down wave, up wave, down wave, up wave. So for me, that's a 5-wave structure. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When you analyze the bigger waves, so this being the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when you look at the 3rd wave, the 5th wave, and the 1st wave on the daily and weekly time frame, what you'll see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up to complete the 3. So in order for this to be an impulsive wave, you have to analyze it on the smaller time frame to then find 5 smaller subwaves of the larger wave. Oh, what's up, Gus? Awesome analysis ever. How do you determine time scale? When you say time scale, can you help me understand that a bit better? Like, meaning when the move's gonna happen, or like what time frame I decide to use? I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. How do you define a wave? Earlier you showed a chart where there was a pullback you did not count as a wave. I forget which chart it was, but like I'll show you on Robinhood. Because it's a really clean chart and it's an easy example that I can just like show you what it looks like. So on Robinhood, right, we have this big, drop down. Oh wait, let me get the paintbrush. You have this big drop down for Robinhood. You have this long kind of choppy consolidation move. You don't really have any impulses. And then what do you get? Well, you get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 to make up this initial 1. Then you get this pullback 2. And then you get this next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up for the 3. And then you get a pullback 4. And then you get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up for the 5. And then you get this ABC pullback for basically correcting this entire 5-wave move. But what you want to see in order to make a wave 1, you have to see 5 impulsive waves up. So for this being the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that makes a 1. Then you have the 2, and then you have the 3, 4, and then 5. So it doesn't happen overnight. You have to, it just takes practice, experience, and really just trial and error. It's like as easy as it looks. It's like any tool, right? The easiest way I can describe it is like woodworking. If you give I don't know, a bandsaw or, some type of electrical tool to a brand new, construction guy or electrician or a carpenter, if you give like a guy that's just out of, school, maybe he went to school for it, some trade school, or is just starting the career, maybe he learned from his dad or his grandfather or whatever, he's fresh out of it, right? His skill set is going to be very different than a 20-year veteran that's doing the same thing because of experience, of time, of trial and error, of learning. So while Elliott Wave Theory is very good, it's really just determining it really depends on like the person using it, if that makes sense. Like some people are it just comes naturally. Others, it takes time. That's the easiest way that I can explain it is like the tool is only as good as the person using it. So for me, I've been doing investing, trading, reading a lot of books, trial and erroring a lot of strategies for like 8 years now. So it takes time. Does it take 8 years to learn everything? No. Like I trialed out a bunch of shit during that period of time, and then eventually I found Elliott Wave Theory, and for me that's worked the best. So it just takes time, experience, and eventually you'll get the hang of it. The time frame by which the total move will happen, is it months, years? Well, you can see Elliott Wave happen on every time frame. Like it doesn't have to be on monthly, it doesn't have to be on weekly. It can be on 3-month time frame, monthly time frame, daily, hourly, 4-hour. It really just depends on what you want to do with it. I would say when I analyze the charts, it's mainly monthly, weekly, and daily. I rarely go under that because then you can get a little bit confused by the moves and then count certain moves where you think because it's like lower time frames, so you have more price action, and then you can determine, oh wait, this is a wave 1, but it's actually, if you look at it on the larger time frame, it's part of a corrective structure. So for me, I always start at the highest time frame and then move down. So for Robinhood, for example, you start on the monthly time frame, and then you analyze Robinhood on the monthly time frame, and then you look at it and you say, okay, what do I see on this chart? Well, I see this wave up, I see this wave down, I see this wave up, this wave down, and then this wave up, and then we're correcting. Okay, now I go to the weekly time frame, and then I look at this whole move, and then I say, okay, what do I see on the weekly? Well, I see this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay, my analysis was correct. This is a wave 1 because I see 5 wave moves in it. Okay, now we have this drop 2, and then this next big move that I identified on the monthly that I thought was the wave 3. Let's look at it. Well, you get the wave 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. Okay, I have 5 moves in the 1, 5 moves in the 2. So this is the 1, the 2, the 3. This is a drop 4. It doesn't invalidate the wave count because price did not retrace lower than the topping point of wave 1. So wave 4 cannot enter the territory of wave 1, which it did not. And then you look at the wave 5. Well, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, this is a 5-wave move. Now what comes next? You get an ABC corrective of this entire 5-wave move. So after a 5-wave move, you get a 3 move down. And for those of you that follow me and have been in the live streams and then know where my next targets are, it's between the 0.382 to the 0.618 of this entire move. So from the bottom of the move to the top, we should see Robinhood correct between $97 and $63. Now you just wait for price action to come about. Okay, where does price action go? Well, on the weekly chart, we have this we have this ABC move. Now, where did it go? Well, it barely retraced past the 0.236. It didn't quite hit my target at the 0.382. So if it were to reverse from here, right, instead of going down to the 0.382, maybe this was an ABC correction, and next thing you know, price is reversing towards the upside. Well, because it didn't hit my minimum target of the 0.382, I don't invest. I just move to another asset and find another one that did. Well, what do we get off of these lows? We would analyze it and say, okay, we have an ABC. Now let's wait for price action to develop off these lows. We can jump down to the daily time frame now. And then we analyze this move. Well, what does this move look like for this B wave? It doesn't look impulsive. We have a 1, 2, and a 3-wave move. That's corrective, meaning this is a larger wave A, this is a wave B, and what we should expect is a wave C, because this can't be a wave C or an impulsive wave because it's a 3-wave move. So that means this is the A, this is the B, and we should expect a C lower. Now, then you look at that structure and you say, okay, where is price going to go next? Now I've identified a wave A, a wave B. Now I'm waiting for the C. Well, the zones that I'm still paying attention to are the 0.382 to the 0.618. What does price do now? Well, you get some price action. And what it has done since this move is a 1-wave, a 2-wave, a 3-wave, a 4-wave, and a 5-wave. And that's why I've been saying, based on this structure, having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my next target on the larger time frame has always been the 0.618, the 0.5, or the 0.382. Well, price shot past the 0.382. It shot past the 0.5, tried to reclaim it. However, based on the structure, we already have a 1, 2, and a 3. What's next? Well, I should expect a 4 and a 5. So while everyone thinks this is the bottom and we're reclaiming the 0.5 and we're going to start the uptrend, I'm looking at this structure saying, no, this is just a wave 4 and we need a wave 5 lower. Now I can go on the lower time frame and say, okay, what are my next targets for the wave 5? Well, you use the tools at your disposal. The next target for me for this wave 5 is, basically $62. What did we just see on the larger time frame? The 0.618 was at 63. So now I have the 0.618 lining up at 63 and the 1.618 at 62. That for me is the next bottom for Robinhood. Is we should see a wave down here, and then we'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up to about 300. So that's how I look at it and I analyze these charts. Is you start at the monthly and then kind of work your way down, and then you just have to be patient. Like if price doesn't hit your target, then don't invest. Go to another one. Like you don't have to buy every stock. You don't have to buy every crypto. You have to have a strategy and you have to have a game plan of when do I buy, when do I sell. If you don't have a strategy for it, then you're just buying shit to buy it, and then you're living on a hope and a prayer. So if you're like, well, I'm going to buy here because it's at a deep discount, say, I know this is over explaining, but I just want to get you guys to understand my strategy is, say you're here and you're like, well, you don't know anything about, fibs or whatever. You have no idea about any of this stuff. You just see from the top of Robinhood to this zone right here, it's a 30% correction, right? It hasn't even hit the 0.382. You just see this move. And you're back in December saying, well, Robinhood's already corrected 30%. I'm going to buy here because I think it's at a discount, which is not necessarily a bad strategy, but you don't have more context to determine if this is a bottom or not. And then you buy right here from this top to this low right here. And you have no idea what's next. You just see a 30% correction. I'm going to buy. Well, me, on the other hand, I have Elliott Wave Theory at my disposal and a strategy. And I know, well, price A hasn't hit the, give me a second. I know I'm sitting there looking at this chart and I'm saying, well, guess what? The price has only hit the 0.236. That doesn't qualify for me to buy. I have to wait till the 0.382 at a minimum. So I know that this 30% correction, even if price was to reverse here, I missed the trade, whatever. It is what it is. I have a strategy. I stick to it. I want the best risk to reward. Now, price pumps. Everyone gets cheerful, greedy. I'm in, I'm up. But structurally, they don't know what's next. Then you see a boom, this huge retrace. And everyone's freaking out saying, oh shit, the bottom's not in. I need to sell my position because people tend to get fearful and sell their position. So they see this larger decline, which was another what? Say they bought here at the 0.236 and then down to the 0.5. That's another 30% correction. Now you're looking at your portfolio and saying, oh shit, I bought it at 30% discount. Now I bought and I'm down 30%. So if you bought in with $1,000, you're down $300 on it. And you're saying, oh wait, I don't know how low this thing can go, I think this thing's probably going to go lower. I don't trust this. I think price is going to go down to $19, $20. I'll buy there. Then what happens is I'm waiting for the 0.5 to the 0.618 retracement. I'm buying here. You're still waiting on the sideline because you're getting fearful that you already lost 30%. So you want to time it correctly so you don't lose another 30%. Guess what happens? Price hits my target, starts reversing. You get fearful, or you doubt this wave and you say, no, this is just a false wave. It's going to pump down. I'm going to wait. I'm so smart. Yada, yada, yada. Price continues to pump. It passes all-time high. You see news articles of this thing pumping to 1 million. You're going to FOMO buy here, but you already bought back here. So now you've lost out on basically 100% gain from where you bought previously, and then you sold because you lost 30%. So then now you're sitting there like, oh shit, I need to buy. I'm going to miss this thing. You buy up here, once it passed all-time high. My next target is 300. You might capture a 50% gain, but I capture a 5x. You're like, this thing's going to the moon. I was so right. Next thing you know, you get an ABC pullback. You're underwater again. You get fearful and sell when I buy, and then it just rinse and repeat. So if there's anything you can take away from this, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. You cannot just buy based on opinions and based on your emotions. You have to operate out of some type of strategy. So I hope that helps. I don't know. I went on a tangent there, but I wanted to hammer down the point of you have to have a strategy. So for me, when Robinhood makes its next move, I'm gonna buy and wait for the next target. But I hope that helps. Now let's jump over to gold, because this whole scenario I just talked about, this entire tangent I just went on for 10 minutes, that you guys are probably thinking, Nick, shut the fuck up. Like you've already went on this tangent. Shut up. You get on with it. I'm not here to hear you bitch and moan. All right. Let me show you this scenario on gold. This is what's happening on gold, and I see it because I get all the comments on gold, specifically because I made a video about it last week. And I was talking about gold being topped on this candle right here. What is that? That's, no, not that candle. I was somewhere in this region, beginning of February. Someone had requested gold, back in like February, and they were like, I need you to look at gold, look at gold. I was saying it was topped here, and then next thing you know, we've had what? From this February, we've had, oh, no, that's the wrong one. Where's the price one? I was talking about it back here. We've already had, a 12% drop, which is not really major. For me, that's just a short dip. But I was talking about it back in gold, and I see it because I get so many comments of people getting emotional about their trades, which is what I just described, right? People are FOMOing the top. Next thing you know, price is down 12%. They're underwater. They're getting scared. They're like, shit. Then they see my post. And for me, where I have gold going next, wait, hold on. Let me go to the monthly. Give me a second. So on the long time frame, this is kind of what it looks like. On the long time frame, you have this, basically this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. My next target on gold, this being the 5-wave move, is, I made a video about it. You can go watch it if you want. But the next target on gold, which is what I made the video on, is I was saying anywhere between, again, you guys know my strategy, I just described it, the 0.382 to the 0.618. That's 3,800 to 2,800. I know that's a big range, but we just have to let price action develop. So I was talking about it back in like around 5,000. I remember being like 5,100 when I was talking about it, and I said, be prepared for decline. If we go down to the 0.382, that's a 23% decline. The 0.5, that's 30 or 35. The 0.618, that's 44. I am seeing comments now saying, no, this is just a small decline. Gold can't go down, with dollar printing, whatever. This thing's going up to 7, 8K. You're wrong. And for me, that's just people getting emotional because they bought at the top and they're underwater 12%. So they're hoping and praying that gold bounces and continues to run up after having this massive explosive, blow off top, which is already overextended as it is when you look at the structure of it. But my next zones for gold would be between 3,800 to 2,800. Obviously, we have to wait for price action to go about. As I just described on Robinhood, you wait for the A, you wait for the B, and then you kind of analyze the C. This for me is just an A wave. So this is an A wave, however far it goes down, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is an A wave, then we'll get a B wave, and then we'll get a C wave. As price action determines, what'll probably happen is we'll get this A wave down. Everyone will come back to my videos. When we get this B wave, they'll say you're wrong. Bitcoin, gold's pumping up. I told you we're going to all-time highs. And then we'll get the wave C, and everyone will get emotional about it. But the next target for me on gold is basically 3,800 to 2,800. Let's see. Bitcoin is outperforming gold right now. Well, yeah, because we have a blow off top. If you look at the structure, yes, gold is outperforming, but only for right now. So once gold makes this big correction, Bitcoin's going to make its impulsive move up. Because if you look at the structure of both of these charts, I'll show you 3 different charts, and I'll show you the difference of why charts, again, they move in waves, right? Everyone knows prices move in waves. That is how markets move. They don't move in straight lines. You get waves. We already have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on gold. It's completed its 5-wave structure. What's next is an ABC. Look at the gold Bitcoin chart. Yeah, we can do that. But that's we can look at the gold Bitcoin chart, and I'll show you what I mean of why gold's gonna. You've just nailed it for 50% of crypto buyers long term. They don't know when to buy, myself included. I don't mean it as a disrespectful thing. Don't get me wrong. I've been there. Trust me. And I am underwater on some of my positions because I bought after the massive ABC corrections in 2022. I loaded up on some altcoins. Obviously, some have had some impulses off the lows, other have further declined. So I am underwater on some of my positions, but those ones I invested more from a fundamental standpoint and the structure. Obviously, you can't predict everything perfectly. With lower market cap, higher volatility tokens like small cap cryptos, Elliott Wave Theory is not necessarily geared for that. Like, you can have just these massive price swings, which is not perfect for Elliott Wave Theory. But yes, there are a lot of people that are feeling that right now. So you're saying I should sell gold right now? I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just saying these are the levels that gold is going to come to. We're going to see a retracement to the 0.382 at the minimum. We could bounce from the 0.236 and then we reverse, but these are monthly candles, and we've only had one drop so far. We haven't had a 3-wave move. Even on the weekly, we haven't had a 3-wave move. If you look at it on the weekly, we've just had this drop A. So what's next is you get the drop A, the bounce B, and then you get the C. So at minimum, we're probably going to come down to the 0.382, and then we're going to come down to the 0.5, depending on how this structure looks. But on the monthly chart, when you look at it, we're expecting an ABC, and that's somewhere in this range. Again, do with it what you will. I don't have my series licenses anymore. I used to have my 663 and I was studying for my 7. Again, this was 9 years ago. So I don't have them anymore. At the time I could have given you investment advice, but since I don't have them, I legally can't provide it. I can give you my opinion. I would have said if you would have came in the live stream a couple weeks ago, I would have told you this was the prime time to get out. I was telling people that gold looked topped and you could have sold there, obviously 12%. It depends on where you buy, what your risk tolerance is, what your time horizon is. If you're planning to hold gold for, 10, 20, 30 years, with a small price swing like that over the grand scheme of things, just wait to these levels and then buy more and then lower your cost average and then hold. It really just depends what your strategy is. Where can I get a course for this? I don't currently have any courses. I am considering doing some type of coaching because I've had a lot of other people ask for coaching. I haven't set anything up like that yet, but that is on the time horizon. So for those of you that are interested, that is something that I'm looking at doing, some type of coaching to train others on this if that's of interest. What is the name of the strategy? Elliott Wave Theory is what it's called. It was made by Ralph Nelson Elliott back in the 1920s, I think, or something. So it's been around for over 100 years. But the title of it is Elliott Wave Theory. But yeah, you should get a bounce on gold based on this. You will have an A wave, a B wave. I would say wait till if you're going to do anything, again, this is my opinion. If you're looking to get out of gold and rotate into something else, which for me, the better risk to reward right now is crypto. And I'll show you why, just looking at the structure. Gold has already completed a 5-wave move and we're due for an ABC pullback. Whereas with Bitcoin, we've already had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up, and we're about to complete the ABC. And what's next is another 5-way move to the upside. So structurally, gold is topped, Bitcoin is bottoming, they're inverses. I would wait if you can, again, my opinion, wait for the B wave bounce wherever that thing goes to, you know, again, an A wave, a B wave, sell on the B wave if you want to get out and then rotate it into another asset. Personally, I would recommend Robinhood. Robinhood's a really good one. For me, Robinhood looks really good. MSTR looks really good. Coinbase looks really good. Bitcoin looks really good. XRP, like there's a lot of other assets that have already made a 5-wave move and are about to complete their ABC, where with gold, we're waiting for the ABC down to complete. Silver is similar, but it's in a different stage. So silver, it hasn't completed a 5-wave move. On silver, we're completing the wave 3, and then the wave 4 will happen, and then you'll get a wave 5. Whereas gold, we've already done that. What was I going to show? Matt said, tell him he's watching the course. Yeah, I go live every single day and, you know, do this type of stuff. So I guess technically this is the course. Chess is in session Sunday through Thursday. Yes, class is in session Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time we go live. So yes, class is in session. Okay, so yeah, MSTR looks really good. That is one I'm personally looking to add. So I am looking to add MSTR. We've already had a 5-wave move, this being the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ABC. You can see the differences in structure, right? On gold, gold's here. This is where gold is. It's up here. MSTR is already completing its ABC, whereas gold is up here. We're waiting for this ABC. That's why structurally it just looks different. With MSTR, we've already had a 5-wave move in an ABC. What comes next for MSTR is another 5-wave move to the upside. I am waiting for MSTR between $100 to $74 is my next target. So somewhere between $100 and $74, I will start dollar cost averaging in. And then my next target after that is $961 on MSTR. MSTR is sitting around the 0.786 right now, from what I can remember. Yeah, it's like right at the 0.786 right now for MSTR. But my next target is lower, so we'll probably come down to between 100 to 74 and then start the impulsive wave to the upside. But yes, MSTR has had a deep correction on this wave too. People are going to be crapping their pants if MSTR is at $75. Yeah, 100%. Again, that's why I say you have to have a strategy. Funny enough, we're looking at strategy. You have to have a strategy. But yes, I mean, a lot of people FOMO long strategy because of how I mean, look at this move. We've had, you know, already what is that? Almost a 4,000% gain off of the 2023 lows. And people were FOMOing into this. You know, I saw everyone talking about strategy on this wave up, and that was the wave 5. You had the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and then everyone was buying the 5th, and then now they're crazy underwater. And like I said before, guys and gals, don't want to. There might not be some women in here too, so can't discriminate them now. When you're looking at charts like this, everyone's fearful because from the all-time high, we've had a 76% drop, and everyone's fucking shitting their pants. Sorry for the cuss words, but that's why having a strategy works. For me, I'll wait when everyone's fearful and selling down here at $80 to $70. I'm going to be buying a shit ton of this, and then boom, you know, I'm waiting for the next impulse wave. Oh, Hyperliquid. Yeah, that was right. Hyperliquid. That was right. I think we looked at Hyperliquid. Again, it's a newer market cap coin, so which is the one that we looked at? Was it Coinbase? No. I think it was USDT. I think we looked at Hyperliquid. Again, I try to stay away from like newer market cap coins because they're like we were looking at that other chart before of that stock. I can't remember which stock it was. Was it this one that we were looking at on the daily? Maybe. I think it was it this one. It could potentially be this one. I mean, on the daily on Hyperliquid, we do have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up. So you do have a start of an impulsive wave up. So if we started from here, you know, hype probably, again, it's sitting right above the 0.382. It might come down to 35 to 32. You know, somewhere between 37 to 32 would be the next zone given this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up. And then it'll come down here and then it'll make its next upwards movement. But on the larger time frame, it's hard to tell because this is what the structure looks like on the weekly. Like you just have this big up, big correction, and then, you know, maybe this is the 1, 2, and the 3. Again, this token's too new. Like there's just not a lot of structure to go off of. While it might be good fundamentally, I tend to stay away from tokens like this because they're just more risky. They carry more risk. You have to look at the structure a little bit more. I mean, this is kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with this being the 2, and then this is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. But then this can't be a 4 because it already retraced into this territory. So while it might have fundamental, this does look like a 5-wave move, at least on the shorter time frame. You know, the next target on that would be between 35, what was it, 37 to $32. On the shorter time frame, you know, if we get a pullback to say 34, it would be 63 would be the next target. So this would be the 1, the 2, and then we get the 3 towards the 1.618. But this being such a newer token, it just carries more risk and more volatility, which I tend to kind of stay away from these things, if I'm being honest. Galaxy Digital. Yeah, we can look at Galaxy Digital. Thanks for your time, Nick. Much appreciated. Good night. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for coming and showing support. I had more silver. Can you do silver? Yeah, we could do silver. What was the other one that you said, JT? What was? Can you take a look at ADA? Yeah, we can look at ADA. Can you use Elliott Wave to predict my wife's mood? I wish, brother. I wish. What mood are we gonna get today? Let's see. No, I'm just playing. I love my wife, but I you know, from another dude to a dude, I get it. You were going to show the gold to. Oh yes, that's right. Bitcoin, is it Bitcoin XAU? I'm assuming this is Bitcoin versus gold. Let's see on the monthly. I've actually never looked at this chart, so I'm genuinely curious what it looks like. Okay, so on Bitcoin Gold, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this sort of A, B, C pullback. Then this wave 1. Was this going back to 2010? Yeah, I mean, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move with this big correction on here. Now, I just want to look at, you know, this could be the wave 1, 2. Let's look at this on the monthly. This is a Bitcoin versus gold is an interesting. You can see obviously Bitcoin outperformed, but then, you know, obviously corrected. Let me go to the weekly. I want to see what this looks like. So this looks that what the kind of candle is this? So on the weekly, it almost looks like we have a wave 1, this A, B, C pullback, then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then this wave 4, then this 5, and then we have the A, B, C. Yeah, so that, again, it looks like we have this. It kind of looks similar to the USD chart. You know, Bitcoin being this is the massive wave 1. And then we have this kind of wave 2 pullback. Wave 3 will start next. So, and it makes sense because gold is topping and Bitcoin's bottoming. So Bitcoin's going to start, you know, reversing on gold versus Bitcoin, but also Bitcoin versus USD, which makes sense. Gold topping, Bitcoin bottoming, Bitcoin rips as gold declines, and then we'll see this chart, you know, kind of reverse. So it makes sense. That's what I figured it was. My question is the best question. You need to answer it. Where was your question? Healthcare? Were there Elliott Wave Theory signs that would have predicted the huge pump that happened 3 to 4 months ago, or was that an anomaly? Let me see. Are you talking about this one, right? Wait, let me get this in the chart. Are you talking about this one right here? I'm assuming so. But this pump right here, why can't I get my draw? This pump right here, is that what you're referring to? When it was... Oh, talking about silver. Oh, okay. Shit. What's silver's chart again, guys? SLV. iShares silver. Let me go to the monthly. You talking about this one right here, the one when it hit the wave 5? Is Bitcoin leg down starting? Yeah, still. And that for me, we do have a 5-wave move on the bottom, so it does look like we are starting the wave down. Are you referring to this like blow off top sort of wave? I mean, it looks structurally like the same thing. You know, yes. Yeah. So if you look at it on the weekly, again, sometimes you can't predict like how explosive they go. You can use Elliott Wave Theory at your disposal. Meaning, when you look at this chart, and you can see silver, right? Like, look at this chart on silver. You have this, you know, ABC down, and that's kind of what you're expecting on gold. But let me get to this chart here. So when you have this wave 1, and then this wave 2, and then the next wave 3, wave 4, this was just a blow off top 5. I mean, it's a huge top for the 5, even with this being the wave 1 and then the wave 2 down here. You can see the wave 3 got a little bit over the 2, almost to the 2.618, topped out, and then you had this, you know, mini correction for the wave 4. But you have a super extended 5th wave, because even if you do the inverse here, look at how extended this thing got. You way shot over the 1.618. So what you can do is go to the daily, and then you analyze sort of the daily price action. So your next target on this after the wave 3 would initially be $53. That would have been your initial target. However, once price action came out for silver on the smaller time frame, you would have saw this wave 1, the wave 2, and you'd be like, okay, we have 2 waves. You know, now what? You know, my next target's 53. I'm waiting for that. Now you just wait for the price action to develop. Well, you got this wave 1, this wave 2, and then you had almost this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave 3, wave 4, and then this next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So it would have had, you would have had to evaluate it, sort of what I do with Bitcoin every single day, right? When I show you guys like, okay, you know, Bitcoin, back when I was in December, when I was saying Bitcoin to 70 to 80K, that was before price action came out. And then obviously we've extended, but you just monitor the price action off this lows. You know that this is an ABC4, then you just wait for the wave. So if you get the initial wave 1 with the 2, you know that you still have a 3, 4, 5 next. Well, what happens? Well, you get the wave 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. So you're like, oh shit, okay, we have a wave 1, 2, and a 3 that overextended my targets. I'm waiting for the 4 and then another 5, and you just had like a super blow off 5. So what you're saying is that this was an anomaly and nobody knew it would explode? Not necessarily an anomaly. It's more so that it's just an extended 5th wave, meaning you just got like a super blow off top 5th wave, which can happen. It's not out of the ordinary, but it is more rare. Like with SPY, for example, like if you look at SPY on the monthly time frame, this thing's followed it to like a T, which that is typical of what Elliott Wave Theory does. Like, what do I mean by that is you obviously have this 5-wave structure up. Well, when you look for the target of the wave 3, where did it go? Between the 1.618 and 2. So that's typically where the wave 3 goes to. Where did price action go? We had the 1, the 2, the 3 fell within here. Then you had the corrective 4. And then what happened next off of this 4? Well, after the 3 happened, you waited for the 4. Your next price target would have been the 1.618. And then, you know, boom, it hit that. And then now we're declining. So yes, it's an anomaly, but it's not uncommon. Silver looks like a meme coin. Yeah, silver and gold went just absolutely parabolic. At what point would it have been, oh, it's going to blow up by this much? As price action comes out. As price action comes out, you... And that's what I'm waiting for Bitcoin, right? Like, when I was talking about... Oh, not NTC, hold on. So when I was talking about Bitcoin back in December, this is what I was going off of back in December. This is the only price action that I had. So back in December, right, we got this structure. And what I was saying is Bitcoin probably hits between, you guys know it by now, I don't need to tell you, between the, let me move it over here. Between the 1 and the 1.618, right? You guys know that. The wave 5 goes between the 1 and the 1.618. Well, where were those targets? It was between 80 to 70K, between the 1 and 1.618. After price action came out, this is similar to silver, where we had this initial drop 1 and then this pullback 2. And I was like, okay, we have the wave 1, we have the wave 2. We should get a wave 3 to right here, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Well, what did price do? Well, it went wave 1, wave 2, and then it shot through my target all the way to the 2. Then we're getting the pullback 4. And if you go down to the smaller, to even further hammer home the point, when we got the initial drop 1, and then we got this ABC pullback 2, my further confluence was the wave 3 goes to the 73, the 1.618. So I had the wave 4, the wave 5 pullback between 80 to 70K. I had the wave 1, 2, we should see 73, pullback 4, and then one more leg lower to about 70. However, what did price do? Well, we got this real impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down all the way to the 2.618, shot through my targets. Then obviously I've had to adjust based on the price action. Instead of 80 to 70K, well, we've had the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what comes next? The wave 5 between 60 to 50. So I've adjusted back from December based on price action. So that's what you would have done with silver, with any asset. As price action comes about, you adjust, because you can get extensions, and you can get even, sometimes you don't even get extensions. You get things that don't go to the full extension. So with Bitcoin, for example, why I'm saying my next target is 200K is because of the fib to 200K. However, as this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move happens off of the low, it could drastically change this target, right? If we get a massive wave up 1 with a wave 2, well, I know that there's still 3 more waves to go. What if wave 3 gets a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extension up to 300? You're sitting there looking like, oh shit. You know, I have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. Well, what comes next? You get a 4 and a 5. So as this sort of price action develops, my initial target is 200, but it can change just depending on how this develops. But that's my base case. So I hope that answers your question. It's probably a long-winded answer, but just wanted to make sure I was sort of answering your question correctly. Did you just see St. John's game? No. What happened with St. John's? Did they lose? I need an update. I haven't saw it. Did St. John's lose? Game. Wait, St. John's won or lost? St. John's win. Oh, all right. Good. Okay. Because I had St. John's in the bracket. Thank you, Dylan, for keeping me up to date on that. I didn't know. Damn. Okay. Good. That was a good game too. I watched some of it. That was a scrappy game. That was the Iowa State game in the first half was very scrappy as well. They were letting them play, and then eventually Iowa State ran away with it. But that was a scrappy game as well. Sports. 65, 67. Oh, let's go. Okay. I think I have St. John's to the Elite 8, I think. I think I have them for the Elite 8. There's going to be a shortage on adult diapers whenever Bitcoin goes below 60K. Where does SLV go now? SLV is just in its corrective phase. So when we were looking at, even if you go to the monthly right here, right? So for me, this was just an extended third wave. So we have the wave 1, the wave 2, the wave 3. Typically the wave 4 pulls back to about the 0.382, which it's already overshot that. But these are the zones that I would have been monitoring for SLV between 74 to 53. on the weekly, it does look like we have this A wave, B wave, and C wave developing. So the key zones that I'd be paying attention to is between 74, obviously we already went past that. 64, we're already past that. So 53 or like 53, 54 would be the next zone that I think that silver would pull back to. As long as it stays, even if it pulls back to the 786, it wouldn't invalidate this. So somewhere between that like 64 to 54, I would expect for silver, and then we should get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the low. If the price goes to, say, the 0.618 at 54, the next target for me would be 144 at the 1.618. So this being the wave 1, the wave 2, an extended third wave, the wave 4, and then the wave 5. So that's essentially what's next for SLV. One on a layup at the buzzer. Fuck yeah, let's go. Kansas came back. Yeah, they did. They did. Sorry, I might have missed this. Have we started Bitcoin Wave 5? It does look like we've started it. So when we go to Bitcoin, which is great because I want this freaking correction to end. Trust me, I know that I've been telling you guys, like, you know, Bitcoin to these levels. I can't wait for this correction done. I'm like y'all, right? Like, I'm waiting for this correction to be done so we can get out of this shit. We've been in this corrective phase since January of 2025. This whole move is corrective. So we've been in it for over a year, right? Like if you look at Bitcoin's chart, just as we were looking at gold, right? We were just looking at gold. What did gold have? Well, gold had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move, but it hasn't completed its ABC. Whereas Bitcoin has completed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're about to complete an ABC. What's next for Bitcoin is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the low. What's next for gold is an ABC from the top. Different structures, different assets, moving differently. But we've been in a correction since January to like December, January of 2025. This whole move has been corrective. So I'm waiting for this thing to end just so we can move on with our lives. But it does look like on the 4-hour, this does look like an impulsive wave down, meaning this looks like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then we're in the 5 of the wave 1, then we'll get an ABC 2, then we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave 3, an ABC 2, ABC 4. Let me draw it out. Let me go to the daily. We really just have to wait for price action to come about, but yes, it does look like we are in the impulsive wave down. Essentially, we'll get this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, somewhere around like 6, or no, wave 3, I think I had it like 60. Wave 4, wave 5. Let me zoom out here. So this is the essentially the next move for Bitcoin. So we have the 1, the 2. The 2 probably retraces a little bit higher. Nope, moving that. Let me do this. The 2 retraces to probably like 72. Then you get the wave 3 towards like 60. Then you get the wave 4 and then the wave 5. So this is kind of what's next for Bitcoin is we're just waiting for this 5 move to develop. Once that completes, for me, that's the bottom of the wave 5. And then what's next is upside. Do you think Bitcoin has bottom for this mini wave? Part of my terminology, lack of, yeah. So far, it does look on the 4-hour chart like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're waiting for this 5th to complete. What you'll see next is something like this. You'll see an A, B, and a C. Kind of like this wave right here. Let me move this out of the way. You see this structure right here? This move right here? This sort of like choppy move. That's essentially what we'll see on Bitcoin. We'll see this A, B, C move next. So we have this being the 1, the 2, the 3, ABC 4, and then the 5. And then what you'll see next is an ABC like that. And then you'll get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. That's essentially what we're waiting for. I'm being patient. Like, I'm in no rush. Until this wave 1 completes, then we get the wave 2, and then we'll get a drop 3, and then we'll get a 4 and a 5. My plan is wait for the 1, wait for the 2, and then on this big decline wave 3, we'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move of this 3. Wait for the 1, the 2, and then the 3 to complete on this sub. Like, this is the sub wave of the larger wave. wait for the third wave to kind of be in progress, and then that's when I'll start dollar cost averaging. So there's still a lot of time left. We don't have to rush it. We just got to let this thing develop and then take advantage of the cheap prices when it happens. That for me is what I'm doing, and then I'll buy MSTR. I already took a position for those of you that may be interested in this, just with full transparency. I've already taken a position in NIO. So the stock NIO, it's an electric car company. They just turned profitable the first quarter. We had a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement. Let me change the color of this to white. We've had a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement off of these lows after this price action. So this is essentially what the whole structure looks like. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up, this deep retrace wave 2, and then off of these lows, we've had a 5-wave movement followed by a corrective movement, and then this is kind of what it looks like on the daily, if you go to the daily chart. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move, and this ABC, and then it almost looks like this next wave is starting. So we have this sort of ABC structure bottoming, and then it looks like we have another 1, 2, and then we should get the 3, 4, 5. So I've taken a position in NIO. My next targets on NIO are $93 at the 1.618, which from a risk to reward standpoint looks very good. You know, I do have a position in NIO. I'm targeting basically a 17x on NIO. So it looks pretty good, but again, I'll be monitoring price action as it comes out. But you'll essentially get, you know, a wave 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, something like that. But there'll be levels, like I'll probably take profits at the 1, take a little bit of profits at the 1.618, and then just monitor the wave count as this thing goes up. I'm in NIO $2 for $2 I'm in NIO $2 2027 January leaps. Is that you've bet? I don't. What are leaps again? Healthcare. What is that different? What is that? Leaps on NIO. Those doodles have no meaning. Ah, yes. Here we go. Leap calls. Ah, okay. Yeah. So we found a bottom of one that potentially yes. To answer your question on Bitcoin, yes, it does look as though we've had a bottoming on the wave 1, and then we should see a pullback too. Estimate numbers, can't see your chart edges. So for Bitcoin, for example, the next targets I have for at least the short term are, so if we do get the pullback from here, or not pullback, the reversal from here, it basically, I have this, then about 72, 73, then to like 58, and then a pullback, and then to like whatever it does. But the next levels that I'd be watching are 72 to 73. Fizzy Fizz, what's going on? Are we going to 75 to 80 before Bitcoin drop? No. So if this is the start of the wave 1, which it looks like it is, because on the 4-hour chart we have a 5-wave move. So given that we have a 5-wave move, this would be wave 1, wave 2, and then wave 3. Price, if this truly is a wave 1, can't retrace higher than 76K. It cannot do something like this. Wave 1 and then wave 2 retraces higher than the starting point of wave 1, which would mean this would invalidate the wave 1. This would just be an A wave, and then you get a B wave and a C wave. But based on the structure, it does look like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Then we get an ABC2, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So I don't, as long as 76K holds, we won't see 80. So 75 maybe, but more realistically, if this is the bottom, we probably see a retrace between 70 to 72. Somewhere between 70 to 72, we'll get an ABC pullback, and then we'll get another drop down. That's essentially what's next. Ethereum, my next target on Ethereum is a little bit lower, just with Bitcoin, like 1,700 to 1,400, and then 7,500 for Ethereum. What's the bottom price range? 60 to 50K is my range. Where do you see XRP bottoming? Between $1, it's like between like, we just looked at it a little bit ago. I think it was like $1 to Dollar, where was it? Oh, now I can't remember. Oh wait, no, we deleted it because I wanted between a dollar to 81 cents. Between a dollar to 81 cents on XRP. Yeah, we could do ADA. We can look at ADA. Filecoin just in corrective mode. There's no impulses. We already looked at that one. There's no structure on it. So we Filecoin just in corrective mode right now. Oh, long contracts like 2 years out. Okay, that makes sense. XRP, yeah, dollar to 80 cents for XRP. Should I buy it 65? I mean, you can. I mean, me personally, I'll be dollar cost averaging between 60 to 50K. I'm waiting for a retrace to 60 to 50K on Bitcoin before adding. I'm already in Bitcoin since 2022. I'll just be looking to add to my spot position. Let's see. What about ICP? ICP still in corrective as well. Galaxy Digital. Galaxy Digital. Gus, are you still on the stream or are you logged out? If you're still on here, let me know so I can look at Galaxy. I don't know. Yep. Okay, cool. Galaxy Digital. Interesting. I mean, on the weekly chart, it almost looks like, because I see this right here. This right here looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe 4, 5. This looks like maybe a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. I mean, there's definitely a 5-wave move here, which is good. Then you have this A wave, B wave, C wave. But so far, the price action here has been... Let me go to the daily, maybe, so then I can see it on the daily. I mean, we definitely have a wave 1 here, and then a wave 2. But this whole price action, like up, it almost looks like a slow grind upwards is the only thing. So I'd have to evaluate this a little bit closer, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with this A wave, B wave, C wave with 2. But this can't be a 3 because then the 4 drops into this, so that would invalidate that 1. But then you get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move here. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like this is definitely a wave 1 back here, and then a wave 2. And then you do have a 5-wave move up here. But this can't be a 2 with this being a 3, 4, and a 5. Because this would come into the territory of wave 1. Meaning 1, 2, 3, and then 4 would retrace lower, so that can't count. So this could be a 1, a 2. Maybe this is a 1, ABC 2, 3, 4, but then that would invalidate that. This could be a 1. No, this can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an ABC because it invalidates right here. Honestly, there's just so many invalidations. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. This is definitely a wave 1 with a 2, but then this structure right here is just so overlapping. Like, yeah, you get this impulse of 1, but then off of this low, off of this 2, just prices just overlapping, came down. I mean, you could technically restart everything. You know, this being the one, this, you know, this whole structure over here being... what's the word I'm looking for? Being like invalidated, and then you could start the count from here. You know, this could be the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. With this being, well, no, you can't even do that because if this is the 1, the 2, this can't be a 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So there's too many overlapping stuff on this, to be honest. Like, there's just really not a lot to go off of. It's not as clear. Unless this is just one massive, like, wave 1. This is an A wave. This is a B wave. Because that could make sense because everything is overlapping, which would be indicative of a correction wave. So maybe this is a massive wave 1, an A wave, a B wave, and then you should get a C wave down. That, to me, would be the only logical scenario on this, because all of this price action is choppy and overlapping. The thing is, where did this thing correct to after this 5-wave up? Well, you already corrected lower than the 0.786. So this could be an A wave, B wave, and then maybe you get some sort of like running flat C wave, and then you start the next impulsive wave up. But this to me looks like a B wave. It doesn't look like an impulsive wave, which just means that this could further correct into a C wave down, and then you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move off of the lows. That's just my opinion on it. I could be wrong. This thing could continue pumping, but based on the structure, it's very unclear. It's very choppy. The only clear impulsive wave that I'm seeing on this thing is this right here. This is the only really clear cut and dry impulsive wave. Other than that, it just looks like a big A, B, and then a C wave is up next. So I don't know if that was what you were looking at here, but that to me, based on the structure, is the only way that I could fit it in. Because everything in here is just overlapping, which makes more sense for it to be a B wave. Let's see. ICP. Can you look at IP? What is IP? International paper? Makes sense. It's a crypto exchange and has just built a data center. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about it fundamentally, but from what I could see on the chart, it just looks like a very big B wave, which is not bad, because if we get a C wave down, the next move could be a massive move up, but you're going to probably have to be patient and wait for that, unfortunately. International paper, is that what we're looking at? Is that, I'm assuming? What market is it? That was Galaxy Digital we were looking at. How long do you think it'll take time for big red candle on Bitcoin? I mean, the wave 3, once we get the pullback 2, or the retrace 2, the wave 3 is typically where you see the big candles, so I would say just give it time. You can use line chart to measure waves for sure. It's a crypto coin. Oh, it's a crypto coin. IP story. It's IP USD, I guess. Story. Not much. I don't really have it. It looks like token launch. What is that? February 2025. Token launch. You get this correction and this correction and big retrace. Until we get it, something like this off the low, there's really there's no real. I'll buy NEO instead. The structure looks very good on NEO. I am personally in NEO. I mean, there's a 17x on the table. I'm just going to put it out there. You do what you want. In my opinion, NEO looks pretty good. Earnings per share was like a 900% beat. Revenue was like an 800% beat. They finally turned a profit now. Structurally, it looks good. I like NEO right here. I'm going to be honest. I do. I like NEO. You think these big moves up are coming even with the war and oil stuff going on now? Until the correction is done. Until the correction is done, meaning until we get which could take, another month, depending on how long, it could take a couple weeks, but until we get this, until we get this move, 4, 5, move this down here, this down here, until we get these 5-wave move down, the correction's not done. So on the smaller time frame, this does look like to be a 1, then we'll get an ABC pullback 2, then we'll get a drop 3, an ABC pullback 4, and then another drop 5. Once that's complete, this whole structure is complete. Meaning, we've had the 1, we've had the 2, we've had the 3, the 4, the 5, and then we have this big ABC expanding flat structure. on the smaller time frame, which I just drew, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. Once that completes, this whole structure is done. Meaning we've had the wave 1, the ABC pullback 2, and then what's next is a massive wave 3. However the news plays out, I don't care. I only look at technicals. For me, news always lags technicals, meaning when I was talking about Bitcoin dropping in December, everyone said I was wrong. And then we had the government shutdown, the Epstein files, all this negative news. And then people were using that as a narrative to justify why price was going down. And then this entire move, I can't remember when things started for the Iran war. I don't know at what point in time it started, but was it back in the 3 or was it in the 4? I don't remember the specific date, but I've been saying this is a wave 4 and we should expect a wave 5 drop. Now, you get all this, negative news, maybe Trump throws in a tweet, you get, whatever. For me, structurally, it's saying a 5-wave move down and then a wave up. So however this plays out, do they end the war? Do they not end the war? Whatever happens, for me, the next high probable outcome after a wave 1, a wave 2, is a wave 3 next up to 200K. If price, again, we're going to have to monitor price action, so it doesn't necessarily mean that 200K is a lock. We have to monitor price action off of these lows. If we get an ABC corrective movement off of the lows, that's not a good thing because then we'll get another ABC corrective down. And what that'll mean is this is the ABC A, this is the ABC B, and then we should have an ABC C and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move. However, with this correction lasting over a year and just structurally what it looks like, I do think the next move is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up to 200K. However long it takes to plan out, I don't care. I'm in. The risk to reward right now screams upside. So do with that what you will. Appreciate your knowledge and information, brother. Absolutely, Topper. What's going on? How are you? How much lower can VeChain go? Do you think the Clarity Act will be a catalyst for an alt season? It's possible, for sure. I do think that, again, structurally wise, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but structurally wise, you guys know one more dip lower and then up. That's what my thesis is based on the structure. It's not my opinion. It's not me just randomly throwing numbers out. It's just based on my strategy. We have one more leg lower and then up. Now, what does that mean for altcoins? Well, if you look at Bitcoin on the daily, I've been saying, 60 to 50K for Bitcoin, right? And what does that mean from prices right now, right? Say we cut it in the middle to 55. We don't go to 60, we don't go to 50. That's another 18%, 19% decline for Bitcoin. That could be another, say we look at XRP, for example, which again, I just did XRP a few seconds ago. I'll show you my targets on there, which might align up with this thesis as well. So if Bitcoin corrects to, corrects 19%, altcoins typically correct, 20 to 30%. Well, my next target on XRP is between the 1 to the 1.618. Say we don't go down to the 1.618. Say we go to the 1.236, cut in the middle. Look at what that is. A 28%. So Bitcoin corrects 19, XRP corrects 20. Based on the structure of XRP, I'm looking at between $1 to 77 cents. If we go down to 77 cents, that's another 40% correction. Do we cut it in the middle at 28? Whatever the case may be. But for me, I've been saying it now for weeks that we should see more downside on altcoins because Bitcoin has another, 18 to 20% correction on the table, just based on the structure. And say we do go down to the bottom target, right? We don't go to the middle, we go down to the bottom target. We actually do hit 50K, not 55. Well, if we hit 50K, that's a 25% decline on Bitcoin. What do you think that's going to do to altcoins? That's going to drive them down 20 to 40%, which is going to get a lot of people frustrated. However, the risk to reward at those levels is going to be phenomenal. One of the altcoins I'm looking to pick up on that drop is VeChain. VeChain has had a really big decline for this wave 2. So this being the wave 1, the ABC2, and then the wave 3 is next. If VeChain corrects from here another, 50%, say it corrects another 50%, that still doesn't invalidate this low. VeChain would have to correct another 77% in order to invalidate this move, meaning, you know, say VeChain goes up and then goes lower than the starting point of wave one, it would invalidate that move, which would mean that's not necessarily ideal. But I do see VeChain maybe correcting, you know, maybe 40%. So that brings that down to about, what is that? 3.004. And then my next target on VeChain from there, if we were to retrace that low, you know, say we came down to 0.004, the next target on it is 43 cents. Well, look at that. That's a 100x opportunity for VeChain. And for me, that's what I'm going to be deploying. Again, I'm not going all in with my portfolio here. I have proper risk management. But for me, I'll be allocating a 1%. Like if my portfolio was $1,000, I'd allocate, you know, 1% of that portfolio to VeChain. And that's what I'm planning on doing, allocating about 1% of my portfolio to VeChain and then waiting for this massive next move up, because I like the token from a fundamental standpoint, but look for that risk to reward. There's little risk to the downside with massive upside reward. You could potentially hit 100x with VeChain. Again, it's my opinion. It's not set in stone, but I'll be dollar cost averaging in VeChain on that Bitcoin bottom. Another one I'm looking to pick up is EOS. Sorry, I hit the wrong one. Another one I'm looking to pick up is EOS, just based on the structure of EOS. We have a 5-way move up, which I've already marked out here, and change that to white. I've already marked out the 5-way move. Now we have this ABC move. I'll mark it out in yellow. Now, if we have another, you know, say we have another 40% decline on EOS, my next target is, let me move this down to the 40, is like $2. Well, what's that? What's that from here? That's a 60x for EOS. That's my next target on it based on this structure. And we obviously could get extensions, so this thing can go up more. But EOS looks good from a structure standpoint. I like VeChain. Those are the two that I'm looking to add to my portfolio. I'm good, brother. Giving a hope all as well. Yeah, going well. The St. John's getting that buzzer beater didn't ruin my bracket, so I'm definitely a lot happier now. Pengu, yeah, we could look at. Could you do this for Microsoft? Yeah, we could do Microsoft. Let's do Pengu and Microsoft. I think we looked at Pengu. Wait, no, that's not the good chart. I need to look at the USDT chart. I think. Is there the one on the Mexi? No. Which is the best Pengu chart to look at? Is it the Coinbase one? I don't know which one has the best. Is it Kraken? Is it, this is Pengu, right? No, that's the perpetual futures. I don't want that. Pengu USD. Is it the Coinbase one? Yeah, that's Pengu, right? I was like Pengu. What's up, MLB? Where do I need to send my check to when you make me rich in about 30 days? You don't gotta pay me nothing. I do this for the love of the game. But I will say VeChain and EOS look solid. They like structurally wise, they look good. Neo is a stock I invested in. That's got a 17x potential on the table. MSTR's got about a 10, 12x on the table. Coinbase looks really good too. My next target on Coinbase is 800. Robinhood's got about a 5 or 6x. So there's a lot of assets right now that are undervalued. You just got to take advantage of it when people are fearful. I mean, Pengu, this one looks interesting because I definitely see a 5-way move right here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see that. Then, I mean, this would be a really small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I guess technically speaking, you could call it that. But it just looks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it just, this is a super small one. It's almost like this is the 1, this is the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, Pengu's tough because, like, I want to call this a 5-way move with an ABC, but again, in order to find, Gus said, thank you for tonight and your time. Absolutely, Gus. I appreciate you showing up, and I hope that our Neo investments pay off here soon. In order to have like a valid impulsive wave, you have to have 5 waves in it. So, for example, right, this right here has a 1, 2, 3. Messed it up. Hold on. This right here has a 5-wave move, right? Like it almost looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that could be a 5th wave. And then this has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 2, but then wave 3, but then there's no wave 4, wave 5. So Pengu, like I do think from a fundamental standpoint it has value, but from a structure standpoint, it almost looks like this is the wave 1, 2, 3, but then there's no 4, 5. Because I like this can't be a 4 with a 5. That's too small. This can't be a 1, 2 because there's not 5-wave structure right here. I mean, if I went down to the 4-hour, maybe, but I would be forcing this thing to fit. So while I do think that there's probably some fundamental basis behind Pengu, as far as the price action I'm seeing on here, it just doesn't fit into my strategy. Unfortunately. It's hard to say whether any meme will take... yeah, and like, again, Elliott Wave Theory is not really geared for meme coins. Anyone ever tell you that you sound like Ashton Kutcher? No, actually, no, I have not heard that, Donnie. I don't think I do, honestly. I really don't. Unless you're hearing something that I don't. That's the first time anyone's ever told me that. I guess I'll take that as a compliment. Do you ever use... My wife said that you do for sure. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment. I appreciate that. I'm going to have to ask my wife, like, hey, do I sound like Ashton Kutcher? I hear it kind of. Oh, no. Now that's going to be in everyone's mind now. It's like, oh, here's the Ashton Kutcher guy. Do you ever use EMAs or EG clouds? I like your use of it. No, I don't. So I find with using, I mean, I know that you see a lot of things on, social media or YouTube, and you have like, people talk about like using multiple different strategies to have confluence. Like you get the EMA confluence, then this confluence and this confluence. For me, it just confuses me. And like what I often find is when you use multiple different strategies, they have pros and cons, right? Like the EMAs have their pros and cons, Ichi clouds have their pros and cons, stochastics have their pros and cons, Elliott Wave Theory has its pros and cons. Like everything has their upsides and downsides, and when you combine them all, it almost feels like the pros of one strategy are the cons of the other strategy, and they kind of like counteract each other. So for me, I like to just stick with one. So for me, it's just Elliott Wave, and I hand draw everything. I don't use any indicators. I don't use any like anything else. The only thing I use is just my own hand-drawn stuff. While that might seem archaic and old school, I personally just like it. I'm not a big fan of AI. I know I've said it a few different times on here. I'll use it for like daily tasks of things that are just, that don't require a lot of critical thinking, but I typically tend to stay away from like ChatGPT and Claude and all the other ones. I like to think of myself. That's just me, though. I'm not really a big AI guy. Cardano? Yeah, we can do Cardano. What time is it, by the way? 8:30? Oh, shit. We're going long today, guys. This is a long live stream. I typically only go to about 8, but, you guys got me in a tangent today, so I'm going to continue going. Cardano, we're still in a wave 2. So for me on Cardano, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have this big sort of A wave, B wave, C wave. We're just waiting for impulses off the lows here. My next target on Cardano is $5. But we're just waiting for these impulsive waves off the low. Until we see that, Cardano's kind of just trying to... It's sort of in corrective phase. You almost have like this A wave, B wave, C wave. Then you have this A wave, B wave, C wave, and an A wave, then a B wave, then a C wave, then this A, B, C wave. So it's just... It's all corrective. None of this yet is impulsive. It almost looks like if you take Cardano and then mirror it against Ethereum, it kind of looks like this. Like you can see a little bit of similarities with it, right? You have this big A wave, B wave, then this C wave down. And that's kind of what Cardano's in right now. Like, this is the price action we have for Cardano. It's very similar. And then finally, Ethereum had an impulsive wave 1 off the low with a 2. We're kind of waiting for this for Cardano. We're waiting for the wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So until we get that, Cardano's kind of just in corrective mode like Ethereum used to be. You think this is another reset? What do you think about the drop? When you say reset, what do you mean by reset? Like global reset? Like resetting? I'm not sure what you mean by reset. Pyth, we looked at Pyth before. It's just in corrective phase. There's no impulses. What percentage rate would you say your Elliott Wave analysis pays off? Like, what's your batting average? Good example. I like that. I like baseball. So it's hard to tell. I mean, because I don't do a lot of short-term trades. I am doing them now. Like, it just wasn't real. I wanted to start getting into some swing trades, which predominantly my strategy is more long-term investing. So I guess stay tuned on that. I'm tracking my trades. I'm in a Bitcoin short right now. This is the first swing trade I've taken out. So I entered right here on Bitcoin. So this is the first swing trade. Right now I'm in profit on it. So I guess I'm 1 for 1, I guess, in terms of profit. But the area that I entered on for Bitcoin was basically the 0.5 fib retracement. So that part of my strategy for the swing trades is I need price to retrace to the 0.5 or the 0.618, and that marks my entry, and then I ride it down. So I entered around 75, 75K. I entered an IBIT short, and then I'm riding this wave down. So that's the first swing trade I've done. Now, as far as long-term trades, it's kind of hard to tell because I haven't taken any profits on them yet. Like XRP, I'm positive. XLM, HBAR, already taken profits on Solana. I made like a 10x on Solana. I made like a 10x on Render. I should have taken profits on Injective, but I didn't because I did like the way that the structure was forming for Injective. I'm waiting for that to take profit. So like all the positions I'm in right now, I'm just waiting to take profits given they're more long-term investments. So it's hard to say like percentage wise because I really haven't like sold any of them yet for profit. But as far as the shorter term stuff with more of like the swing trading, I'll be documenting all that, like, you know, saying, hey, this is the first trade I took, here's the percentage that I made, here's the percentage that I lost, and then tracking that in a spreadsheet and saying, okay, I win, you know, 3 out of every 10 trades, but my risk to reward is actually, you know, a 4 to 1. So I can lose 7 trades, but win 3 and still be profitable. So I'll be documenting all that stuff, and I'll keep you posted on sort of what that win rate is. But for those of you that have been following me now since December, when I started like posting content, more finance content, because I kind of found my niche was finance content, just what I'm passionate about. I mean, I'll just kind of let my work speak for itself. I mean, I've kind of been documenting the whole Bitcoin move down, and so far it's proved pretty accurate. So I would say it's pretty good. How can Bitcoin down but Ether up? So I have Bitcoin going down and Ethereum going down as well. So the next move for both those is down. Is he a boot that talking or what? I don't know what you mean. Double A boot? Are you talking about bot? I don't know what you're asking. So say things that so say something about Bitcoin and war and quantum computing. I don't really know what that means. It's not a question. Is swing trading a good idea for this bull cycle because you can get round tripped in crypto? So for me, the way that I'm evaluating swing trades is the only waves that you can trade based on the strategy is wave 3 and wave 5. So that's the only thing that you can trade is the wave 3, and then for this being the wave 5. So those are the only waves that you can trade. You can't trade wave 1. You can trade the C wave, but I don't really feel like fucking around with the corrective waves. For me, I look to trade the wave 3 and then the wave 5. So those are the 2 waves that you can trade. For the swing trading stuff, obviously there's like right now my stop loss or my like level that I'm watching is 76K. If price goes above 76K, then I'll close out the trade because it has invalidated my wave 1. So there's like, there's certain things that I'm doing, but I'll be, letting you guys know when I sort of take those profits or not. But the first swing trade that I entered was I bet short. Let's see. Filecoin just in corrective phase. There's no impulses yet. What are your thoughts on XRP? My next target for XRP short term is between $1 and 78 cents, and then after that, $6. Where can Ether go down to? 1,700 to 1,400 is my next target. 200K Bitcoin is my larger wave 3 target. Yes. Ethereum, the sub wave 3 target is 7,300, but then we should get a pullback 4 and a 5. So I'm targeting between like 7K to 10K for Ethereum, about 6 to 10K for XRP, Cardano $5, and then VeChain 40 cents. Someone says one MS Gold, wait till midterm election in US till that market will stay uncertain. I'm kind of confused by that question. Thank you for the fan club, AA. I appreciate that. Can you look at total 3? Yeah, what time is it? 8:44. All right, let's look at total. What's Bitcoin dumping to? 60 to 50K is my next target. So between 60 and 50K. Let's look at total 3 as the last chart, because I wasn't planning on staying, or no, not total USD, total 3, sorry. I'm going to do the total 3 chart as the last chart of the day. Hood's looking good from a fundamental standpoint. I like Hood. They're doing really well. Let's look at total 3, and then after total 3, I'm probably going to end the stream there just because we've been on for a few hours now, and I want to watch a little bit of the late night games for NCAA, so I want to catch some of those games. I know that you guys were updating me on St. John, so I appreciate that, but I want to catch the later night games before tomorrow. So I'll do total 3 next, and then that's probably the last chart we'll do tonight. So on total 3, I have us being in the wave 3 right now. So this kind of being the wave 1, the wave 2, and then we're in the wave 3. My next target is 1.75 trillion on total 3. So let me put this all into perspective here. So this being the wave 1, the wave 2, and then we're in this like 1, ABC 2, then we'll have a wave 3. My next target is 1.75 trillion. I'm playing SMST as we ride MSTR down, not financial advice. Is SMST, is that the inverse of MSTR? That's right. That's like the one that is like all the put options or something on it. Is NEO further going down or time to buy in? I'm personally in NEO. I think from a NEO standpoint, there could be a little bit more correction, but not too much. And then my next target is 90, was it $91 or $93? Web, good lab, bro. Absolutely, Web. I appreciate that. Double inverse. Okay, solid. We'll end with SPY, please. We'll end with SPY. I'll do one more freebie. We're going to end with SPY, and then I will be back live tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And, obviously I'll make my short form content tomorrow, but as far as the live stream, I'll be live then. So this is what SPY is right now. So the next targets I'm looking at for SPY is between 563 to 481. So we've already had, again, what was I saying, guys, before when we were looking at gold's chart? SPY looks very similar. I meant to jump back to it. My apologies, I forgot. But gold is in the same sort of structure-wise, different, a little bit different, but structurally-wise, it is very similar, where you have gold experiencing its 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and waiting for an ABC pullback. SPY is also in the same thing. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waiting for an ABC pullback. The levels that I'll be watching is between the 0.382 to the 0.618. So between 563 to 41 is is what I'm looking at for SPY. So SPY is kind of in its corrective zone. Good time to buy gold. I'd personally wait. Gold's topped and correcting. Hey, I need... Oh, all right. Yeah, Summer, give me a second. I'll be right there. So my wife's in the chat. She needs me, so I'm going to get off here in a second. More options for times of day to shed it. Facts. Gold is top just like SPY, so I'll show this real quick, and then I'm going to end the live stream. So gold, the next levels I'm looking at are between 3,800 to 2,800. So gold's already had a blow off top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move down. We should have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. The levels I'll be watching is between 3,800 to 2,800. So there's more downside to come on gold. I would wait for a pullback first before getting in. But with that being said, guys, I am going to end the live stream there. This was a great live stream. We went a lot longer than I normally go, so I appreciate the good questions and just the live stream in general. So I will see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Topper, thank you, brother. Absolutely, thanks. Special K, what's going on? Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be live same time, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Go away. Summer is calling me. She needs me, so I'm gonna go check on her, see what she needs. I'm probably sure she's probably asking me to go get her water. I'm guaranteeing she's in bed watching TV and she needs water. That's what I'm guessing. So probably get her water soon. Thank you for your time. Absolutely, you demand. Absolutely hate healthcare. I appreciate that. But yeah, same time tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I will be live. Again, I also go live on other platforms too if you prefer the vertical, or not the vertical, the horizontal. So I go live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. If you prefer the vertical on TikTok, obviously join there. If you want more of the horizontal where you can see my full screen, feel free to go on YouTube too. It's really your preference. It doesn't matter. I go live on all of them, so it's your preference. Good night. Yeah, absolutely. Have a great night. Thank you, Summer. Yeah, she's definitely needing water, 100%. I know it. She's like, hey, come get me water. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see y'all tomorrow, same time. And for those of you on YouTube and Twitch, I will see y'all tomorrow.